Welcome to the Rabbit Hole Fantasy Football Podcast. Thoughts, analysis, and information to help you succeed in your fantasy football leagues. I am your host, Chad Lyon, and I am here as always with Tyler Bevel.
Hey.
And our producer, Mitchell Bird.
Hello.
And today we are reacting to our podcast league Dynasty startup draft. We're going to look at our builds and some of our favorite builds from our league members. Certain moves maybe we did or did not like, our own included. And maybe talk a little draft strategy here. But before we get going, as always, top 3 list.
Uh-oh.
Tyler?
Yeah?
Top 3 candy bars.
Candy bars.
Candy bars.
Yeah, that's a good one. What do you got?
Can I say Reese's?
No, that's a cup. That's not a bar.
It's with all.
I like Reese's too, and I was upset that I couldn't put it on. So if I can't, you can't. It's a cup.
Where do you buy a Reese's?
In the candy section.
All right. Seems to be next to a lot of candy bars. Twix?
Okay. Ooh, that's a good one. It's the only one with a cookie crunch.
Yeah. I like the left ones. Snickers, my number 2.
Oh, yeah.
And give me a break. Kit Kat, number 3.
All right. That's a good list.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that list.
Right?
I'll let you have an honorable mention of whatever you want.
Reese's.
All right.
It's bullshit
Reese's
that it can't be
cup.
put on this list.
Mitchell, what do you got, buddy?
Ooh, I'm with Tyler yet again. I'm gonna have some Twix. That's gonna be my number 1.
Okay.
I lean to the right a little bit. So.
See, I always heard only weirdos ate the right ones. I don't know.
Number 2, Fast Break.
Oh, yeah.
And shout out to Reese's. Nutrageous is gonna be my number 3.
Oh,
Wow, Reese's
good
all
call.
day long.
Yep.
Look at
You know what?
Number 1 is a Snickers for me. Best candy bar on the planet. Followed by the most underrated candy bar that's ever existed in the Fifth Avenue. And I can't have Reese cups, so I have to have Nutrageous. Nutrageous. Snickers, Fifth Avenue, and Nutrageous. And anyone who says Fifth Avenue shouldn't be on this list, I will fight you over that.
I mean,
Candy bars.
clearly, though, Reese's is supreme. I mean,
Yeah.
like maybe it shouldn't be candy bars. Maybe it should be candy cups, and there should be more different kinds of candy cups. And
There's not many cups out there.
right,
There's the Mallow cup.
cups.
Yeah.
they're not.
What's the one with it's like butterscotch.
I don't know.
Same people that do Mallow, a smoothie cup.
Smoothie cup. I
Smoothie
don't know
cup.
if I ever had one of those.
Them and the Mallow cups when I was a kid had like the little tickets in it. And if you saved up so many of them, you would get stuff.
Man, you know what?
Remember
though?
those?
Like, I might have shorted my list a little bit here. Like,
Why?
I'm not gonna go back and I'm gonna stick with it. But like, you start thinking like a Klondike bar, ice cream bar. No, we're just going candy bars from a gas station, just excluding Reese's.
Oh, that is amazing. Oh man, we better move on here. Ty's getting really upset.
Right.
Mitchell's going to have to bleep that out. League setup. So this is the setup to the league that we just did. It's 14 teams, full PPR, super flex, tight end premium. That's 2 points per reception for tight ends.
The full premium.
That's right. This is the roster setup. We start 1 quarterback, 2 running back, 2 receiver, 1 tight end, 2 flex, 1 super flex, a defense, 11 on the bench, 2 taxi squad spots, and 3 IR spots. There is a 4-round rookie draft every year. 3rd round reversal was implemented in this draft because if you go beyond 12 teams, you have to. Ty, you agree with that?
Yeah.
It's just
Evens it out.
Yeah, it's a better balance. 12, you're kind of pushing it.
I
don't
still
think
like
it'll
the
work.
reversal on 12.
Do ya?
Yeah. I don't know. It just 10 definitely not. But I don't know. I could do a 12 without and be fine. But
Okay.
I probably, if it's my vote, I'm saying, yeah, I want the reversal even in a 12.
Okay. And as far as defenses go, I want to touch on this quick. So we are in an offensive league these days. It's an offensive league. Penalizing defenses for giving up 20 points.
It's ridiculous.
It's completely ridiculous. So the defense scoring is boosted. I believe I have it set to where the average is your defense starts with 10. I know that's like always how ESPN has always done it. That's like the most basic settings. I believe we start with 30.
Yeah.
which just evens out that playing field of being such an offensively driven league. I'll repeat, not to sound like a broken record, your defense should not be penalized for giving up 20 to 24 points.
No, that's a pretty good game.
That's a good day.
I mean, and the way a lot of those leagues that start at 10 are, I mean, the defense could give up 17 points.
Yeah, and you're still
and you have like a
waxing.
4.
Yeah. I don't really like that, man. You're at that point, you're relying on sacks and fumble recoveries and picks and pick sixes. You shouldn't have to count on that to get a decent fantasy output from your defense on that day.
No, I actually love how you implemented the defensive thing because, I mean, if you get the pick six, it's still a big boost for that team.
Sure.
I mean, it doesn't affect that at all, but make the defense a little bit more interesting. They can score some points.
It does. Okay. That doesn't mean you should reach on defenses, though, at all,
No.
because it balances everything out. We'll touch on that eventually.
Yeah, for sure.
So the ADP that we're going to reference today is using Sleeper's ADP for our specific league settings. Okay, so when we're talking ADP, remember that. We're referencing our league settings. Does that make sense? I hope so. That makes sense to you, Ty?
Yep.
All right. So let's start out with our teams. We'll start out with your team first, Tyler.
Oh, boy.
I got some questions for you.
Yeah.
So you were picked 12 out of 14.
Yep.
How'd you feel about drafting from this position?
I was all right with it. I think with a lot of drafts, I mean, you kind of wish there's definitely some things that I wish I had a redo on it, but I don't really blame the position on it. I don't think 12 is a bad position.
Did you have a plan of attack and knowing what your pick was? Did you have like a hopeful player that fell to you, or were you just playing the let's see what falls and go from there?
So coming into this, my plan for this league, and it didn't happen at all, was I was going to try to, at pick 12, I was hoping for, I guess, Dak, and then hoping to get a guy like Kyler Murray or something in the back end off of that. I did not expect CeeDee Lamb to be there at 12.
I didn't either.
And
I don't think I would have either. And how do you pass that? So you did. You went CeeDee.
I took CeeDee Lamb first pick.
Are you happy with it?
Yeah, I'm happy with the CeeDee Lamb pick.
There's no like going back like I wish I'd have done this instead. You're
Not
solid
there.
on that pick.
Yeah, I'm good with the CeeDee Lamb pick.
Okay. How about your wide receiver room overall? Are you happy with that?
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's pull up this big board here.
Got CeeDee Lamb, Mike Evans, DJ Moore, Amari Cooper, Jackson Smith, Najigba, Jahan Dotson, Rashid Shaheed.
Okay, so a mix of Mike Evans and Amari Cooper are your old heads, I guess, right?
Yeah, for sure.
That's not a bad room at all, I don't think.
I already tried to trade Mike Evans.
Did you?
Yeah, just
I'm working on
put him
DJ
out there
Moore.
in a trade. Yeah,
I'm working on DJ Moore with you.
I like DJ. But on the, and I'd have to see how it fell here on the wide receivers. If I do have a mistake that I made that I am not super happy with, it falls right around Mike Evans' pick. Just because Devontae Adams was still on the board when I took him, and if I had that to do over again, I'm maybe taking Adams over Evans.
Okay. Oh, okay. So Cup, I was going to ask you about Cup. Cup went before you. That's my fault. Okay. So you wish you would have went Devontae over Mike Evans.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have to agree with you there. I think I'd prefer Devontae over Evans.
That's one spot where I think Mitchell scooped him up shortly after that.
We'll be talking about Mitchell for sure.
Yeah.
There's some things to talk about there. So you did go Kyler Murray with your second pick.
Yeah.
You are happy with that, correct?
Yep.
Okay. Beyond Murray, how do you feel about your quarterback room?
Kind of a mess. I'm going to be honest with you.
Well, Bo Nix, Gardner Minshew, Aiden O'Connell, and Drew Lock.
And Drew Lock. And now, since the draft, I've traded for Russell Wilson. I gave a second-round pick for Russell Wilson. So, I mean, still a hot mess. But
maybe not.
I like Bo Nix. I've been pretty high on him throughout. I look for him to be a week one starter. I don't like the idea of taking 2 picks on Raiders quarterbacks, knowing that only one is going to start. But, I mean, I took Gardner Minshew, and then 3 rounds later, Aiden O'Connell was still sitting there. So,
well, we talked about that on the last show. Here's my deal with that. If they become usable for you, great. If not, somebody needs quarterback help, Are you really that upset if you have to let that duo go?
No, and I'm looking at that. If I can, one of these guys gets a start, that I can turn that into something else. Or
In a super flex league, you're going to get more than the average.
Right.
So it's not the worst thing in the world to have depth at quarterback, even though maybe it's not depth that you like to see.
Right.
But now we're talking like, forget Minshew, forget O'Connell. You've got Russ Wilson to go with Bo Nix and Kyler Murray. That's not a bad spot to be in.
No.
And then you're talking Minshew and O'Connell back behind that.
Yeah.
And if you have to let that walk, so what? You'll get something useful for that, in my opinion.
My boy Drew Lock just hanging out there.
Oh, Drew Lock. You really think he's going to get time this year?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, let's be honest. Daniel Jones isn't setting the world on fire.
And you're thinking ahead with that stuff. I mean, you think where I took him back end of the draft. I mean, you're taking a shot on a guy, and if he comes out and is a starter and has a good week or two, like, I'm shopping him.
Sure. To the Daniel Jones owner.
Yeah. Anybody who needs a quarterback.
Yeah. How about your running back room? Najee Harris, Austin Eckler, Tyrone Tracy, and Evan Hull.
I don't like the running back room, but it definitely wasn't like something I was going after in the draft. I like where Austin Eckler fell to me. Najee, optimism there with the Arthur Smith offense, but I wanted to get some young running backs.
Did you have any intention of getting Jalen Warren and just missed?
Yeah.
To go with Najee?
I think Cory took him coming back around.
Okay. That's kind of a win now running back room with Harris and Eckler, you think?
Depending on Eckler's workload and what he does in Washington.
Okay.
Because there's not a lot of use there. I mean, your optimism with Tracy that maybe he gets in there because there's not a huge roadblock in front of him to get some touches, but
we'll touch back
that's a long shot.
We'll touch back on that in a sec. As far as win now and your running back room and whatever. I have to imagine you're quite happy with Kincaid and Juwan Johnson in a tight end premium.
Yeah.
Dynasty setup. Yeah, and where did Kincaid fall? Was that a round 3 pick, I believe?
Think so, yeah.
Okay. Let me pull up this draft here and get to round 3. Round 3, there he is. So, you took him pick 31 overall against the ADP of 43, so a little sooner than ADP, but tight end premium is super valuable. And in a dynasty league, to have Dalton Kincaid, like, he ain't going nowhere anytime soon. You got that stud tight end,
right?
And then to go behind that, so I have no qualms or issues taking him at 31 against the 43 ADP, none whatsoever. And then again, Juwan Johnson, we've talked about him on several podcasts. We know how we feel there. So you're obviously happy with that setup. So with all that stuff said, are you going to go ahead and consider yourself win now? Like, how are you approaching this? Let's go over. So let me pull up your team here. All right, there you are. CeeDee Lamb, Kyler Murray, Dalton Kincaid, DJ Moore, Bo Nix, JSN, Mike Evans, Amari Cooper, Najee Harris, Austin Eckler is essentially what you're looking at for your starting lineup, correct? Does that feel win now to you? Or do you feel like you're a spot off?
It feels like win now because of the age of the players, but I'm going into the season and let it play out a little bit. But I will say if the season starts out rough, I'm going to pull the trigger fast.
Going to start bailing.
Yep.
There's no reason to sit on your hands, man. Like, you don't sit on your hands. That's the way I look at it.
It seems like a win now roster, but it doesn't seem like it is going to win now.
Just hold some of these younger guys and move a Mike Evans, move a Amari Cooper.
Start building. Like I said, I won't drag my feet on that.
Move, Harris and Eckler, I imagine, are both gone quick.
Yeah.
In that instance. Okay. I think we both feel the same about running back as far as dynasty goes. Anything you wish you could have done over?
Honestly, like Devontae Adams, I think a little bit younger than Mike Evans makes the receiver room a little bit better. Wish I would have taken Devontae Adams there. And there is, going back to the running back thing, I wish I would have taken some shots on a Jalen Wright or a Trey Benson. Which maybe not both, but coming out of there with one of them, I feel better about where I was at.
Benson went a little sooner than anticipated, I believe.
He did.
Okay. That about covers your team, Ty. Do you have anything else you want to add?
Nope.
All right. Let's move on to my team. Tyler, you got some questions for me?
Yeah.
All right, let me get my team pulled up here.
So Chad had arguably the first splash move of the draft. Pick 5, Caleb Williams.
Mm-hmm.
Over Lamar Jackson.
Yep.
Justin Jefferson.
Mm-hmm.
Jamar Chase.
Yes.
Why?
Age. People don't know this yet. The public doesn't know this yet, but we have started setting up our rankings. They're not made public. They're not available. They will be. I put Caleb Williams at 5 in my Dynasty Superflex rankings. I can find receiver. It's Superflex. So first of all, taking a quarterback over Jefferson or Chase was going to happen regardless.
At that 5 spot, you're coming out of there with a quarterback.
It was going to be Williams, Lamar, Burrow, somebody like that.
Right.
And I'm just betting on the massive upside that this kid brings with him in the league. There's a lot of weird haters out there. I don't pay attention to any of that. He can paint his nails. I don't care. Dennis Rodman did a lot of weird stuff, and he was fine. Different sport, but you get what I mean. It's the potential of what he has from what we have seen in college, combined with his age. It's that simple. And my goal in the first round, when I'm this early, I was pick 5. I will hammer out receivers. A couple rounds later.
9 of them.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. So I like him over Lamar. A lot of people love Lamar in fantasy. I like to go elsewhere personally. And I'm going to go with him over Burrow. I love Joe Burrow, man, but injuries have been a real problem for him. And then again, to go back to the beginning, it's an age thing. It's an age thing combined with the wicked upside that I do believe that he brings and will prove to everybody. Is that a good enough answer?
Yeah.
All right.
I like you came right back after that and got Dak Prescott, so your quarterbacks are good right there. You got a solid QB room, Dak and Caleb.
I couldn't pass that up. I kind of actually thought maybe I might go receiver there and then try to get like a Goff a round or so later, a couple rounds later. But Dak's staring me right in the face, and we talked about Dak on previous shows. Like, I don't understand it. So to be able to have, and I feel like Caleb Williams will hit in year 1 as far as fantasy goes. I'm not saying the Bears are going to run straight to the playoffs. I don't know what's going to happen there, but I think Caleb Williams is talented enough with the talent he has around him that he'll hit, and to be able to couple that with Dak Prescott, who we know will hit. I couldn't pass that up.
Fair enough. Another person we've talked about before, Chad.
Yep.
Malik Neighbors.
Malik Neighbors.
You said some things.
I said some things.
Now you did get him pick 38. He has an ADP of 27.
Right, and we talked about that.
So that's your zone where it's starting to get.
Now in a redraft, he's around 37, 38. I'm not taking him there. But in a dynasty, and I don't agree in dynasty with the 27 rank, but if you're telling me in a dynasty league that I can get Malik Neighbors just about 10 picks later than his ADP, now I'm interested. Again, 10 picks beyond the ADP. Actually, it's 9, I guess, right? Yeah, you got to bet on that talent. Dynasty, give me a young guy to go with my first pick with Caleb Williams. No problem there for me. And I knew that the run was coming. As soon as I took Malik Neighbors, it's like, okay, I can't lean on Malik Neighbors right now, but I'll lean on him in the future. Sure. I mean, the Giants, they're going to have a different quarterback.
Drew Lock?
Maybe. This year, maybe.
Right.
This year. But yeah, I'm all in on Malik Neighbors, in that sense. I have the talent's there. I'd never denied the talent. So yeah.
Followed that up with Nico Collins and Xavier Worthy.
Yep, that's why I said I knew that the receiver run was coming. Nico is he was just an absolute beast last year. Things were kind of weird for him in college. Took a little bit for things to get going, but the Houston franchise was weird. As soon as CJ Stroud comes under center, bang, immediate pop for Nico Collins.
Yep.
And Worthy, I couldn't pass on it. I couldn't. Now, if I didn't have Nico Collins, see, Tank Dell went right after Xavier Worthy. That might be Tank Dell sitting there.
Right.
But Nico was the best receiver to take at that point. It was really, Nico versus DJ Moore. That's a tough call.
You hit Nico right on. ADP 47. You took him at 80 or 47.
No, I did that on purpose.
Did you? Okay. You were looking like, okay, this lines up. This got.
And then you go Worthy.
Love that pick.
Couldn't pass it, man. It's just the talent's there, and I will tell you right now, like you're eventually going to ask me if I feel like I'm win now. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know.
Gotta let it play out a little bit.
Yep.
So after Worthy, you get Caleb Williams, Dak Prescott. Then you get your 3 wide receivers: Malik Neighbors, Nico Collins, Xavier Worthy. Then in round 6, pick 75, you take Michael Penix Jr.
Mm-hmm. Quarterbacks are king.
Okay.
Taxi squad matters. I don't like to just put some random rookie on there. Michael Penix is going to play.
Right.
I'm a firm believer that it's next year. I do believe Kirk Cousins can be one and done. I don't care about the contract. Some QB needy team will buy that contract if that's what it comes down to. You don't draft a player that high and sit him for 3 years. You don't do it. It just doesn't happen. Like the last guy that happened to was like Aaron Rodgers. Like how long ago was that? It just doesn't happen. And he wasn't even, I don't even think he was taken in the first round.
Yeah, he was back end of the first
Was
round.
it back end?
Yep. Sat in the green room all night.
That's right. You're right. He did. There's like this nice security of looking down at my taxi squad.
You got a first round QB in
and
there.
seeing Michael Penix sit there.
Nice.
And I couldn't pass it. The guy in front of me had taken Kirk Cousins, so I knew it was coming. I watched the teams that draft, right next to me that I'm sandwiched between, and sure enough, I took Penix, and John messaged the
Yeah, he got right on the chat.
Yeah, got right on the chat and said, "Oh, you robbed me." And I figured I probably did. And I knew Penix wasn't coming back.
Right.
I like to have a quarterback like that just waiting.
You were starting to hit that weird spot too, where it's like couple slacker starters there, and then the rookies that weren't the top ones that were starting to hit that.
Yep. And I had to look who was around him. Like, I don't really want Will Levis.
Right.
You could make an argument for Ladd McConkey, but I've already taken Neighbors. I've already taken Worthy. I don't want to add another rookie, quite honestly, at that point that's playing the same position. Josh Jacobs, I don't have a bunch of interest there. You could argue maybe I should have went Trey Benson. I'm taking Penix over Stafford. I've already got my older quarterback. I already have Dak. So, and Kittle's mixed in there. I'm taking Penix over Kittle in this format.
Nice.
Okay.
After that, Chad takes his first running back and tight end. Round 7, he takes Joe Mixon, pick 94. Round 8, he takes Evan Ingram, pick 103.
So Joe Mixon was a value fall. You know me, usually I'd keep passing on running back.
Yep.
We'll talk about the running back fall. Running backs did fall in this draft. We'll touch on that later. And that makes me happy when that happens because I know I can draft the way I want to draft and not lose out too hard.
You hit right at the back end of that fall, and there's 3 other guys we're going to talk about, but you picked him at 94, and his ADP is 79. And some of them are bigger gaps than that, but you hit right at the back end of that.
Got a little fall there.
Yep.
Evan Ingram was another value pick.
Got value for him.
Yeah, I sure did. So I turned Evan Ingram into Trey McBride and a 4th-round pick, but I did have to give a 2026 first with him. Some will argue that's a bit of an overpay. But again, tight end premium, I want my guy. I wanted Trey McBride. I knew I had no shot of getting, he went in the 2nd round. I had no shot of getting him anyway. And I generally, even in tight end premium, I don't reach for the tight ends because it balances them out a little more, if that makes sense.
Yep.
So, yeah, I was able to turn Ingram into McBride, even though I had to give a first in 26. So I still have my first for the upcoming rookie draft.
And my argument to you on that is not an argument, actually. Like that 1st-round pick at 26, McBride's still really young. Chances of you getting that much value, even with a 1st-round pick, are
right. 100% agreed.
It's proven, but he's only been in the league 2 years. I like it.
And if things go set, remember I mentioned I don't know what I am right now.
Right.
There were some value picks here that I couldn't pass. I didn't necessarily draft to win now or draft just for the future. I was kind of drafting on value a little bit, and it kind of put me in this weird spot where I just don't know where I'm going from here. So, if things start crashing and falling all around me, Joe Mixon is an easy move.
Well,
Dak Prescott is an easy move. I can get that first back if I need to.
Your next 3 picks, kind of Keenan Allen, Dallas Goedert, Khalil Shakir. Like the Khalil Shakir pick a lot follow that up with Luke McCaffrey. And then you're coming back and getting Keaton Mitchell.
Big running back run here.
Yep. Ezekiel Elliott after that. Jaleel McLaughlin, Khalil Herbert, Antonio Gibson. So that's your running back fill at the back end.
So my RB2 is essentially Zeke.
Yeah, I think so.
Keaton won't be playing for a while.
Mixon and Zeke got a veteran RB room, but you got some young guys in there too.
Yep, I like the upside of Jaleel McLaughlin.
Keaton Mitchell has like the upside of a cliff. Just give him the ball 10 times, see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah, that's I like my draft.
Here's a sneaky thing Chad did in round 12 that I like. Zach Ertz.
Yeah. There's just, I mean, he's going to start. We've talked about it. He's going to start. He's got a rookie quarterback. There's familiarity with Cliff Kingsbury. He was just hanging out. I was ready to take a defense and decided, you know what, I'll go Zach Ertz.
Scrolled over there, there's old Zach.
Yeah, there's old Zach. So I figured I'd wait. And
Nice.
Kansas City fell. So I took good defense there at the end. And
So overall, you're kind of wait and see what happens.
yep, I'll get to about week 5 or 6, and
Yep.
I'll know what I am by that point, and then I'll start making moves to get better, or I'll start making moves to get better now, or I'll start making moves for more of a looking ahead kind of thing.
Yep.
Makes sense? All right. That is my team. Let's go on to Mitchell's team. Mitchell's going to be on the mic for a little bit. Mitchell, you ready for this?
Hey guys, what's going on?
What's happening? Pick 14. Did you like drafting from this position?
At first, I wasn't sure what I was getting into, but after the fact, it's probably my favorite location to have drafted.
Did you have a specific plan going in, or were you just waiting to see what happened?
I had a general plan, but it fell apart quite quickly.
Get blown up?
I was looking to get in like Amon-Ra or Garrett Wilson, and those people are gone before I got a chance to pick. So
Okay, so you went CMC at 14 and then Anthony Richardson right after. So where do you land on that today? Like, you still okay with that?
I'm pretty happy with it still. Yep. I started drooling a little bit. I've not gone running back this early, even in mock drafts. So
Okay.
it was a little exciting.
So you were one of the big bankers on this running back fall. We had a huge running back fall. You were able to take advantage of a huge fall with Bijan Robinson, who fell to you on the reversal at pick 29 overall. I think his ADP is 11.
Yep.
How good does it feel to have CMC and Bijan both in a 14-man dynasty league?
Feels pretty good.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie.
Tyler, do you think that's the best 1-2 punch running back tandem in the whole league?
By far.
It's not even close,
Yeah,
right?
it's not.
That's wild, man. So after Bijan, your next 4 picks were Devonta, T. Higgins, Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams. This, to me, is absolutely a win-now team. So at what point from the first pick of CMC to the last pick mentioned in Devontae Adams did you say, okay, I'm going for it all right now
Pick number 1.
with CMC?
As soon as I
Right
took
then?
him, I knew.
Okay.
Yep.
That makes good sense. I like your draft. I think Ty and I both agree this is the best win now team.
If I have to put money on a win now team right now, it's Mitchell's team.
Me too.
The red-tailed Hawks.
BJ might think differently. We'll get into that in a little bit.
Right.
Are you feeling okay with your tight end situation? It's Cole Kmet? Or do you feel like it needs improved for a win now approach?
I'd be very happy if I could improve that, shore that up some. Definitely weaker in the tight end than I'd like to be.
My opinion is with what you have, and maybe Ty will have a different thought, I think it might be enough. I mean, if you can shore it up, by all means, do it. But Ty, do you think there's going to, being that it's tight end premium, he gets a little extra there, is that going to be enough, or is he going to need a bump there somehow?
If you get into that win now mode and you're at the end of the season, and then you're kind of looking at the other teams and seeing what everybody's doing, I'm sending offers out there. And unless Cole Kmet comes out and just balls out with new offense and Caleb Williams there, I mean, if it's a huge uptick for Cole Kmet, then certainly. If it's kind of like what we've seen from Cole Kmet or a little uptick, then
Right.
you get to that midpoint of the season and I'm starting to, all right, can I get in a premium tight end league, can I get a guy in here that's going to really boost that?
So maybe in that situation, you go after like a Brian who just got Evan Ingram in at first, who feels like he's not happy with his draft. So he feels like he's a rebuilding guy. Right there might be your ticket, man. Offer him another pick, and that might do it and get you some Evan Ingram.
Do some wheeling and dealing.
Yeah. There's guys out there you can get. So yeah, maybe you need a little boost there.
I also want to bring up with Mitchell's team, like we're talking about Christian McCaffrey and Bijan Robinson, and this is an if part. Right under Cole Kmet, he took Nick Chubb.
Yeah.
If Nick Chubb is healthy at the back end of the season,
that's huge.
And you have RB 1 and 2, CMC and Bijan Robinson, and you can throw Chubb down there in the flex if he's doing Chubb things.
Yeah. I like the sneaky Sam Howell pick he's got there too.
Yeah.
That come up later. After the draft, you traded Romeo Doubs for Tyler Algier. Was there any picks involved in that?
Yes, I also got a 3rd round 2025 pick.
Okay. So did you give up any picks or
I
no?
did not. No.
So you gave Dobbs for a 25 3rd and Algier to shore up Bijan. Ty, what do you think of that one?
Yeah, I think that's pretty.
If you're winning now, it's not a bad idea to have that shirt
you
up.
have that spot shirt up because Mitchell's running backs behind those big three. He started trying to plan for the future a little bit. Like he's got Bucky Irving, Deonta Foreman, Jace McClellan, another Atlanta running back, Elijah Mitchell to kind of help out in the San Francisco.
Yep.
No, I like that move there.
Are you happy with your receiver depth?
Yes.
Behind Smith, Higgins, Devontae Adams.
I could be happier, but given, I don't know, mainly I could be happier because of the age of the starters.
Well, you snuck AD Mitchell in there.
Yeah, you got Adonai Mitchell.
To go with Richardson. I like that. And hey, listen, say what you want. And I know we've had our opinions, but Cortland Sutton's the one.
Yeah.
I mean, he's the one in Denver. You can't really argue that. Not really in love with Mike Williams, but I got to imagine you just took what fell at that point. That's late in the draft.
Exactly.
When he's got Rodgers.
Mm-hmm.
Pair that up there.
Slide upside
Right.
there.
Jalen Hyatt late. There could be something there. That jury's still out. Jamari Thrash, I imagine you just threw him on your taxi squad.
They were a little bit dart throws at that point. Yeah.
Sure. And you even snagged Jace McClellan.
Atlanta running back room is locked down.
Locked right up, man. So I'm going to go back and reiterate what I said. In my opinion, this is the best win now team in this league. And I don't think it's, well, yeah, that McCaffrey and Bijan thing. And
stay healthy.
With a healthy Richardson and Rodgers, that's scary.
Yeah.
That's a scary squad. So props to Mitchell. Good job, man.
Thank you.
I like that team. And I think it could win the whole league right out of the gate here in year one.
And if you're worried about injuries with Anthony Richardson, Mitchell made sure he's got Joe Flacco too. So.
That's right. Old Joe Flacco.
Joe Slinger, come in there and get it done.
He's done it before.
I guess my last question for you, Mitchell. In hindsight, do you wish you did anything differently?
I guess the Tyler Algier thing, I missed the boat on that. If I had realized.
So you wish you just could have taken him without having to
without the trade
anything.
But other than that, I mean, there's a few things I'm not crazy about my taxi squad, but they were dart throws, so we'll see how things pan out.
Fair point. Okay. So that is it for our teams. We're going to move on here and go with some overall thoughts. So, number 1 on this list, Cory takes CJ Stroud first overall over Pat Mahomes and Josh Allen.
Love it.
I do too. Now, in my rankings that I've started, I do have Mahomes and Allen at 1 and 2. I just had a really hard time not putting them there. You can 1,000% make the argument that you can put Stroud ahead in a dynasty league. You're there with me, Ty?
Yeah.
Do you have Corey's team pulled up?
Yep.
So he drafted quite young. I mean,
very young.
He went all in on the young men here. So CJ Stroud at 1. He comes back and he hits that fall that we talked about with Jahmyr Gibbs.
Yep.
Takes Kyron Williams. He come all the way back down because after he took Gibbs, it hit that reversal. Was able to take Kyron Williams, another falling back. Roma Dunes, Baker Mayfield, Keon Coleman, David Njoku, Javonte Williams, Blake Corum, Jalen Wright, Audric Estime, Ty's guy. If I had one complaint about this team, it'd be his receivers. I think we're on the same page there. So we're talking Roma Dunes, Keon Coleman. That's your 1 and 2.
Troy Franklin.
Javon Baker. Does he have Troy Franklin?
Yeah.
Did I miss that somewhere?
He's in the roster right now. Or in the lineup, I mean.
He may have made a trade for that I missed. That's very possible.
This team is very, very, very young, though.
I don't believe he's winning anytime soon.
I don't think that's a strategy that he went in with the draft at all. I mean,
so if you're in his boat, if his team is your team, are you even worried about having Gibbs and Kyron Williams right now?
No.
See, I think there's a shelf life thing with running backs to where if you're not all in, I don't really want them. I mean, I'll have some guys. Obviously, you need some running backs, but to me, he could get hauls for those two to push into his rebuild, or he could sure up his receivers by moving those two, and roll with a Javonte Williams, Jalen Wright, Estime kind of thing, and just see how things pan out. What's your overall thoughts on Cory's team?
Very young. Baker Mayfield and CJ Stroud, not bad. CJ Stroud's excellent. Got Baker back there. He really went out of his way to shore up some of these running back rooms, like the Rams, Broncos.
Yes.
He's got Trey Benson, Audric Estime, Jalen Wright. I can tell you right now, I offered Cory a trade for some veteran guys, and I just don't even think that that's his strategy going into this at all. Well, actually, I offered him Bo Nix in the trade too. But I just don't think that that's his strategy going into this at all. I think he wants to build a young team and go from there.
He might have some rough years.
I think he I don't think that's anything that, I think this is by design for sure.
Okay. Cory's a smart guy. He knows what he's doing. Yeah, so that's pretty interesting team. I'll be interested to keep an eye on that.
By far the youngest team.
Oh, it's not close.
No.
It's not close. So where Mitchell is by far to me the most win now ready team, he is the most long haul ready team.
Yeah. But I like the moves that he made. I love him getting Jalen Wright. I love him getting Trey Benson.
Trey Benson.
Yeah, he's got Trey Benson on there too.
Oh, he made a trade for him too. Then he traded for him. You're looking at the sleeper league. I'm looking at our big board.
On Cory's team?
Yep.
I thought he drafted Benson.
Nope. Swift hand of the law. That's Nick. He drafted.
And they
Benson.
traded for them. So he's definitely by design then, because he's trading for guys after the fact.
Yeah. Interesting. All right, Cory. Good luck. It's tough to win. I hope you're ready for a long ride, brother. But you got some great pieces there. Let's move on to this big running back fall. Mitchell, Cory, and Jordan absolutely hit the bank. Cory just before the reversal, and Mitchell and Jordan on the reversal, essentially, with Cory taking Gibbs at 28th overall, Mitchell taking Bijan at 29th overall, and then Jordan right after that hopped right in on the party and took Breece Hall at 30th overall. And to be clear, Bijan's being drafted in the first.
A lot of leagues.
Pick 11.
Right.
Hall and Gibbs are pretty early in the second, I believe. So the fact that Gibbs fell all the way back to
Gibbs has an
Cory.
ADP of 19, picked at 28. Bijan is 11, picked at 29.
Yeah.
Steal of the draft.
Yep.
Breece Hall is 16 and picked at 30.
All three of those are massive steals.
That's a hit. A third round, end of the second, you're getting Bijan Robinson, Breece Hall, Jahmyr Gibbs.
Yeah. Yeah. Christian McCaffrey was the only running back taken in the first round.
Yeah.
That's it. And then
nothing happened until the very last pick in the second round. That's when Jahmyr Gibbs goes.
How do you feel, speaking of Gibbs, how do you feel about Gibbs going over Bijan and Breece Hall? Is that the way you would have done that?
No.
I would have I would take Bijan there.
Yeah, and then Gibbs, then Breece Hall.
Okay. Well, I'm sure that all three of those guys, regardless, are quite happy with that. Don't expect that to happen in your leagues, folks. That was an absolute anomaly. I loved it though. I loved watching those running backs fall because I don't like taking running backs until late. Because I'll touch on this quick. My dynasty startup strategy for running backs is always the same. And Ty can attest to this. It's always the same. I will avoid. After a couple weeks, I'm going to know what my team is. After a few weeks, if I'm win now, I will just go buy some.
Yeah.
That's just the way I look at it. I'm not afraid to spend some draft capital or maybe a younger player for a solid win now running back. A couple of them. So yeah, me getting Joe Mixon was a little weird, but it was one of those things where he fell. Let's move on with Sam LaPorta. Now this was the biggest surprise to me. Outside of the whole running back thing, Sam LaPorta going in the first round at 9th overall, well ahead of his ADP at 25. Right after Lamar Jackson, 4 picks before Joe Burrow. How are we feeling there?
I don't mind the pick, to be honest with you. I think it's a reach, but I think you could make the argument that he doesn't come back to you in round 2.
He won't. No, he wouldn't have. Did it affect his team?
Yeah, I think it made it Brock Purdy, and then he's got Derek Carr behind Brock Purdy.
So this is Adam's team, correct?
Yeah, Nitrate, Adam. I think it made it tough. I mean,
he went LaPorta, Purdy, Waddle. I don't like ETN in the 4th. That's just, you know how I feel about ETN. That's just entirely too early for me personally. I like him coming back with Zay Flowers. I don't love the George Kittle pick after taking Sam LaPorta.
That early.
That's just...
And then coming back again another tight end. I definitely would have filled a roster spot. But the Sam LaPorta thing doesn't bother me. Tight end premium league. I mean, we only have a year sample size from him, but it was good stuff.
Yeah. He's a little lacking in the receiver department. After that, it goes Watson and Ridley. The jury on Watson's still out. If they figured this hamstring out, it's fine.
Right.
Fine. I'm not too upset. Ridley, not real sure what to think there. I do think it hurt his team. I'm happy he got his guy. But like now your second quarterback is Derek Carr. I do not love that. A little early on a defense for my liking, especially after taking 2. I like the later Jacoby Myers pick. Now that could be sneaky. But after that, Treylon Burks, Elijah Moore, Darius Slayton, I've seen what I need to see there.
He had a good hit on that running back thing too in the later burst of it in round 7.
Oh, with Kenneth Walker?
Kenneth Walker, yeah. Kenneth Walker with an ADP of 49. Nitrate gets him at 90.
Yeah, that's a heck of that's a snag right there. What else did he? George Kittle, Jalen Warren's going to be a useful pick. See, I think if he went receiver where he went ETN, and even went receiver where he went Kittle, I'm looking at this team very differently.
Right.
Because now you're talking like still stealing Kenneth Walker. Jalen Warren is going to have plenty of RB2 type weeks, in my opinion, and might even push a little further towards a RB1 week or 2. You think?
Yeah.
So I think that's where I would have went different. If you're going to take LaPorta and Purdy, hammer out a few receivers, or even where ETN went, maybe you take a quarterback there. But I think, yeah, sneaking in a couple receivers there with Waddle and Flowers, a couple more up top where he took ETN and Kittle. That was ETN in the 4th, Kittle in the 6th. I think I would have preferred to see 2 receivers or 1 quarterback and 1 receiver with those picks. And I think his team changes drastically. And then down here where you take Carr, that could have been another receiver or another running back for your stable if you want.
Yeah.
I just don't think when you take LaPorta like that, I don't think Kittle's very necessary.
I mean, no, the Kittle one is the one where I would have definitely tried to get more value elsewhere on my team there. Having
Sure.
Sam LaPorta, spending the capital that you did on him.
That could have been Jackson Smith and Jigba.
But if Sam LaPorta does what we expect him to do, I also don't think taking him where he did I'm okay with that.
Okay, fair enough. Let's see, what else do we have here? John Lamonsky. You're going to hate me after this. Kamara and DK Metcalf. Both actually draft. Do you have their ADPs pulled up, Ty? They were both drafted behind their ADP, but here's the problem. I still don't like it. When I see who went after Kamara and DK, I'm just not okay with it. Let me get his team pulled up here. So after DK, he took DK Metcalf. Let's be fair. Let's give John a little love here. His first 2 picks were Justin Jefferson and Puka Nacua. He followed that up with back-to-back quarterbacks in Tua and Kirk Cousins. Now, after that is when he went Metcalf. So he's his 3rd receiver.
You robbed him.
What's that?
He was going for Penix. You threw him off.
No, that was the next round.
Oh, okay. That was
next round, yeah.
You.
So he went Metcalf. After Metcalf, I took Xavier Worthy. Bobby took Tank Dell. BJ took Stephon Diggs. And Lee took Deebo Samuel. Now, I like every single one of those players better than I like DK Metcalf. What say you?
Yeah.
So you would have went at any of those guys. Would you take Keon Coleman over him? You're starting to push it now, right?
Yeah.
So it's really those 4 guys. Yeah, any of them. I don't like where he's being taken. And he's even like well past his ADP. So beware when my rankings come out.
So he came back and got Will Levis after you robbed him.
After I robbed him of Penix.
After
yes.
Penix, yeah.
Then Alvin Kamara. There's some guys there. Let me pull up our draft here.
Where did he take Kamara at?
I believe round 7. So let me get down into round 7 here. Nope, it's going to be a little bit later than that. There he is right there. So Kamara, pick 104 overall against an ADP of 88. That sounds fine in theory. But I'm sorry. Zamir White, Ricky Pearsall. I'm taking both of them. I'll take Hollywood Brown over him. And I haven't said a lot of good things about Godwin, but I'd probably go Godwin. I see you froze there on Cooper. Would you go Cooper? Amari Cooper over Kamara?
I would take Amari Cooper and Zamir White over Kamara. Chris Godwin, give me Kamara.
Okay.
How
about Pearsall?
Give me Kamara.
Really? I'm gonna go.
At this point in the draft, round 8, if I'm a win now, give me Kamara.
He's kind of win now. Would you think? I mean, so that's a fair assessment.
Hollywood, I really like Hollywood this year, so I'd probably take him over Kamara.
You like Aaron Jones and Najee Harris over Kamara?
Actually, I think I kind of do.
Then we start to hit the slide though. After that,
yeah.
Who'd you find?
James Conner.
Yeah, I'd prefer Conner over Kamara for sure. How about Tyjae Spears?
Yeah, and listen, Kamara has been great in the league. It's what you saw last year with like his yards per carry and how far that it
fell bad.
If he wasn't catching 7 and 8 passes a game, there just wasn't a lot of points to be had.
Mm-mm.
And when he's catching 7 and 8 passes a game, he's still getting you like 15, 16 fantasy points in a full PPR. I just don't know. There's actually, as we're going through this list, there's a lot of guys. Like I'm taking James Conner, I'm taking Tyjae Spears, I'm taking Jalen Wright over Alvin Kamara, I guess. So to John's credit, Puka in the rear's credit. As far as ADP is going, he's still got a deal on Kamara.
Sure.
But, ADP is 88, pick 104. So John can make the argument, well, it's almost 20, and he's right. But yes. I think I don't like Kamara this year.
It's a bad rank. It's a bad rank, even though he was able to, like you said, pull it off almost 20 picks later. But he should just, as far as I'm concerned, he should be down much further.
Yeah, I believe so. In round 7, though, John gets Jonathan Brooks.
Okay.
ADP of 66, and he gets him with the 93rd pick.
Yeah, I like that.
That's right on that line where we were talking about all those running backs, like where you took Joe Mixon, Right before Jonathan Brooks is James Cook, ADP 59, pick 92. And then Adam, we just talked about Kenneth Walker, ADP of 49, pick 90. So, I mean, right there in that round 7, there was a good sweet spot. And John really hit that, I think, with Jonathan Brooks for the running backs.
I like that move. That was a good snag by him.
The second fall, if you will.
And it's not, I want to be clear too, it's not a bad team by any means.
Mm-mm.
It's not. Let me get him pulled up here. So John, Justin Jefferson, Puka Nakua, Tua, Kirk Cousins, DK Metcalf. Then I robbed him a Penix, so he had to go Will Levis. Then he hits 3 running backs in a row. Brooks, Kamara, Pollard. I don't love the Pollard pick.
No.
But that's okay.
I want Tajay stocks in that team right now.
Yeah. Yep. I totally agree. His tight end 1 is Ben Sinnott. And behind that, he's got Hunter Henry and Bellinger. That's going to be a problem. Roman Wilson, Russell Wilson, Josh Palmer, Gus Edwards.
He doesn't have Russell Wilson anymore.
He does not have. You're right. We've already touched on that. My bad.
Yeah.
He has a second round pick.
Yeah. He has a second round pick.
It's not a bad team. That Jefferson and Puka thing could be very scary.
I like Rondale Moore this year. Sneaky in there, late pick.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not too bad. Michael Wilson's another sneaky pick he's got.
Yep.
Yeah. And then like AJ Barner. His tight end's rough. That's a rough position for him, I think. And
I think he traded Michael Wilson. I just flipped over to his sleeper roster, and I don't see
You're right.
Michael Wilson on there.
You're right. He ended up with Nick, and then Nick flipped him over to Lee.
Gotcha.
All right. Oh, that's a shame because I really like Michael Wilson there for him.
I do too.
All right. This was bound to come up.
What do we got?
BJ drafts 3 defenses.
Yeah.
First of all, why?
I don't know.
Second of all, my second part of why. The Niners in round 8 and the Eagles in round 10. Now, let me pull up this big board here because actually, let me just pull the draft up. It's a lot easier to find it that way. So we said round 8, correct? Where are we at here?
No, round 8 is like Dalton Schultz.
Oops, sorry. Next round down.
Round 7. No, next round.
Oh, next round up. Well, that's worse.
I am never taking a defense that early.
No.
And I can tell you,
Nope.
in all the years I've played fantasy football, I've never taken a defense that early. I can say that with 100% confidence.
It's always at the end. After he took the Niners defense.
To be fair, he made this move with 100% confidence.
Oh, yeah. He was yelling at everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Telling us how stupid we are. You're going to find out pretty
Which
quick.
is great.
Yeah. We love the smack talk. But, after that, you've got Justin Fields. Give me Fields over that. Literally give me any player that we're looking at over that. I mean, he could have had Ingram there, Evan Ingram. He could have had Njoku, Javonte Williams. I mean, there's plenty of guys he could have. He could have taken Dalton Schultz right there if he wanted to. And I don't understand that, man. I don't care if our defense.
Who was the third defense he took?
That's a good question.
Yeah, but the defense is still, like you were saying earlier when you were describing it, it's still an even out thing. I mean, the defense is still the defense. You have one starting spot. Now, I will say about this team, big sexy. It's a win now team, but man, the depth is...
It's rough.
It's bad.
It's real thin. What's killing me, I'll let you go here in one sec, Ty. I want to touch on... So just a couple rounds later, he took the Eagles defense, which it's good defense. But after that, you got Luke Musgrave, Dallas Goedert. I'd rather have Ben Sinnott at that point. A lot of these guys, Deontay Johnson. You've heard what I said about Jalen Polk. Give me him over the Eagles defense.
And we're not devaluing this defenses, but I think the argument is understanding how the draft is going, and you could get those players that you're saying and still come back and get that defense.
Yes, 1,000%. There's so many. There's so much talent there and so much depth that he could have had. That's what's hurting him. Those 2 picks are something different.
And there's a reason guys stream defenses in redraft leagues every year because it's a team thing. It's not a single player, and it's so up and down from year to year with free agency and defenses changing. And it's, I don't know, for a dynasty, like give me my defense around 22.
Let me pull up the big board. Let's go over his bench. Let's see. So everyone listening can see when you hop on defenses like that. Ty, you have his team pulled right up?
Yeah.
Go ahead, run down
Want
his
the bench?
Give me the bench.
Tyler Lockett, Zay Jones, A.J. Dillon, Gabe Davis, Rashad Bateman, Wandale Robinson, Tyrod Taylor, Tucker Kraft, Quentin Johnston, Miami defense, 49ers defense.
That's terrible.
It's not a good bench.
It's not
bad.
a good bench. Now let's go over his starting lineup. Can you read that off for me?
Starting lineup is a little
It's
more
a little scary when you have to run into that.
When you look at it from a starting lineup perspective. Jalen Hurts, Derrick Henry, Zach Moss, that could be a problem. A.J. Brown, Stephon Diggs, Travis Kelce, Dalton Schultz, Taysom Hill, Geno Smith, Eagles defense.
Taysom Hill in the starting lineup.
Yeah, he's got him in the wide receiver, tight end flex.
Well, that's going to have to be Geno if he gets a job, right? Didn't you say Geno's on his bench?
Yeah, Geno's on it. No, Geno's the QB2.
Oh, I see. Okay. Well, I mean, is he Mitchell's best competition?
Maybe. Here's the problem, though. This team, you're looking at the bench, the players that we said. So at running back, you have A.J. Dillon and A.J. Dillon. Zach Moss is your RB2. Zach Moss doesn't produce.
Mm-hmm.
Geno Smith gets replaced by Sam Howell.
Yep.
This team is in trouble.
Yep, it sure is.
Right there.
It sure is. So those defenses really beat him up. That should be more depth.
That should be depth that you could possibly start.
Even another starter.
Because you're talking round 7 and 9.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, those are startable players that you could be drafting right there where you take a defense. The defenses are great, but they just, you could still have gotten the Eagles defense 5 picks later and built your roster up with a couple usable bench spots.
It's round 7 and 10 for defenses.
7 and 10, okay.
But still, it's just, I mean, when did we take our defenses? Like it was.
I think mine was, Mitchell's was right at the end. He took the Bears with a second to last pick.
I think that's a shockingly
Sneaky good
defense.
pick.
I'm telling you, they're going to shock people.
I know I took the Texans with my last pick, but I think I took a defense in round 21, I want to say.
I think it was my second to last pick, Kansas City.
Yeah, and that's a great one too. Defense is always down on the list, and they always are good. Solid team.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, BJ, I know you're talking a lot, buddy, but that's, oof. Good luck to you. Let's.
I just want to say that he told me personally this week that like he can't wait till we have the podcast where we are announcing him as the champion. Like,
oh boy,
he's ready for that episode.
Oof.
That's good that we got long-time 10-year listeners. You know.
You want a piece of me?
Let me ask you this: do you like his team?
No,
I don't either. It sounds scary.
I'll
when
tell you
start.
flat out because we just talked about it. Give me Cory's team over his team any day of the week. If you say you can start a dynasty with these two teams in a 14-man, give me Cory's team over that team any day of the week.
I'm taking Cory's too. Big run on wide receiver in round 5.
Yeah.
9 right in a row. Is that what? Do I have that correct? Round 2, 3, 4, 5. Here we are. Not 9 in a row, but 9 in that round.
Yeah.
So we got T. Higgins, Jordan Addison, George Pickens, Zay Flowers, DK Metcalf, Xavier Worthy, Tank Dell, Stephon Diggs, Deebo Samuel.
But also, not to interrupt, but right at the back end of round 4, last 3 picks in round 4, DJ Moore, Brandon Ayuk, Devonta Smith.
Yeah, that's a
Big
run.
Yeah.
Huge run. And poor John ended up with DK Metcalf. Sorry, John. Had to throw that in there one more time, buddy. Oh, man. Yeah, so anyone that was banking, like, I'm going to catch some wide receivers on this comeback.
You're not.
You're not. I think wide receiver is a heavy staple.
Like, right after that, you're taking chances on guys because it's Keon Coleman, Brian Thomas Jr., Lad McConkey, Jackson Smith-Njigba, Raji Rice.
This is why my main focus in a super flex league is quarterback and wide receiver.
Right.
Like in the first 5 to 6 rounds, I want to be loaded. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I think that's the way to go. You can find running backs later. You can, so I just receivers, and that's one of my biggest takeaways in dynasties. When you're getting a startup going, my advice is in a Superflex dynasty startup to really, really, really be thinking quarterbacks and receivers. Like in those first 5 picks, that's really all I want. Even the first 6 picks. I'll find a tight end after that. I'll find a running back after that. But those first 5 to 6 picks, I would really, really, really put a strong emphasis. If you're new to this and you got one coming up, quarterbacks and receivers is where your strong emphasis should be. Because you say you take these running backs and you find out like, oh no, I'm not a win now team at all. And you know what? Taking running backs early, you're going to find yourself in that boat oftentimes.
Mm-hmm.
They have no shelf life. You're talking a wide receiver and quarterback. That's could very well be 10 to 12 years of life in the league.
Yeah.
It was running back is what, like 5-ish?
Getting shorter every day.
Yep. So just a quick thought there for anyone who has got something coming up. Maybe you have a dynasty startup coming up.
Now, that being said, looking at my team, I took a running back. My first running back I took was Najee Harris in round 9. I wish I'd have come earlier in pick 7 and hit that value fall.
Okay.
I agree with everything you're saying about the running back value, but Najee Harris is my one. Feel like you could have made that a little bit better if you're getting one of those Jonathan Brooks, one of those style players in that round 7 fall. Looking at this now, I just went through mine. Took Najee Harris in the 9th round. That was my first running back.
That's not bad for your first running back.
No.
Though. My goodness.
The other argument there is that, like, okay, if I do wait to round 9, maybe should have went youth.
And I'd like to point out with me taking Joe Mixon, that was just purely 9 times out of 10, I'm not taking a running back right there in round 7. Like I might just go another receiver.
But that was that.
I tend to push
You're
it.
right in that sweet spot of round 7 where you got like where guys were getting those 30-point ADP values that are just be nice to have one of them on my team right now. And like I said, if I didn't, honestly, right now, if I could redo this draft and I'm looking at the same thing, like round 9, and I thought maybe he'd fall back, but Cory was taking everybody young. But, Jalen Wright there instead of Najee Harris. Go young for the running back room with the guys that you're taking later versus going with the veteran, but we'll see.
Okay. So Jordan had another steal. So he stole Breece Hall.
Yep.
And pick 139 with an ADP of 97. He lands David Montgomery.
Boy.
Listen, I know odds are it's going to be the Gibbs show. David Montgomery's not going anywhere, though. And Dan Campbell loves that dude. So
I give you the Dan Campbell thing. I think end of the year it's closer to the 139 than the.
Ooh, that's a huge fall. Really? With an ADP of 97, you feel like. Oof.
I feel like he's going to be in that 120 range.
Okay. Even still, though.
Good.
I mean, at that point.
Well, I could be wrong on that.
Well, you could be, but I don't know. That's going to take an injury for you to be super wrong.
Yeah.
I think it is going to be Gibbs' show, but boy, you start getting down in close, it's all Montgomery. And he's going to have enough yardage there. Like, that's an easy flex.
Yeah.
All day long. I love that pick. I think that's a great pick. Let me go to, I think Jordan's team deserves a little bit of talk here. He is one of my favorite. I have a couple favorites here that I really like other than mine.
I took Austin Eckler right before David Montgomery. And my ADP score is not near as good.
I think in that sense, that's the right. I still like that pick though, even though like the ADP is weird and all. Yeah, I still like Eckler over him right now. Like if you're going to go win now, especially, I'd rather roll the dice with Eckler.
Right after David Montgomery, Mitchell took Nick Chubb.
Yep, another great fall.
Yep.
That's the theme of this draft.
Running back fall.
It's running back fall. And boy, was I happy when I saw that happen. One guy I wish that I didn't, or that I did get is Zamir White.
Yeah.
He is a running back that I wish I had got in my hand. Just because we talked about there's going to be a volume thing there that I
think there's a door open for him.
Yeah, for sure. Jordan's team, Tong Po. I love it. Awesome. That's a blood sport reference, I'm quite sure. Or it's a kickboxer reference.
Ooh.
I forget. It's a Van Damme movie reference at the end of the day, regardless.
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Oh, yeah. Loved his movies growing up. Man, I was
Right, when
obsessed.
you were a little kid, they were like the best thing on
Oh,
planet
the
Earth.
best.
He's like the baddest guy on the planet.
No one talks about the movie Lionheart. Not to get off the Lionheart
It's a
with
good
Jean-Claude
movie,
Van
yeah.
Damme is great. Fighting for all those rich people in that like ballroom. That was awesome. Anyway, Jordan's team, Tong Po, starts out the way I love. Takes advantage of a little bit of a fall there with Joe Burrow, and then lands right back around with Justin Herbert, and then hit that huge fall with Breece Hall. Now, I'm not arguing with taking a running back there. After everything that I've said, I'm sorry, when Gibbs, Robinson, and Hall fall like that,
You're there. Take him. Get him.
you got to jump on it. And then he did fine. Like his RB2 to go with that is Pacheco.
Who I think is going to be.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to outperform his draft stock. Like, that guy's, I think, big things for Pacheco this year.
And between Pacheco and Hall, he went Brandon Ayuk. Then he hammered out 4 receivers in a row after Pacheco and Rashee Rice, Jaden Reed, Ricky Pearsall, Hollywood Brown. Got some Kansas City stuff.
Love the
there.
Hollywood Brown there.
Yep, me too. And then he gets that huge fall with David Montgomery. Follows that up with so Isaiah Likely's his first tight end taken. That might be rough.
Yeah.
And then
Unless Mark Andrews gets hurt, then you're fine.
right. He's got Noah Fant down there. I don't love that. But at that point, like things are getting thin, you know. Brian Robinson's there, Jalen McMillan. I'm not a huge Jalen McMillan guy, but if you're going to start throwing guys in your taxi, now's the time to start looking at it. I love that he backs up Burrow with Jake Browning. He took a shot late on J.K. Dobbins.
Yep. Could be good value.
Yep.
Ricky Pearsall, if Brandon Ayuk gets traded, I mean, then you got
That
two
you have
startable wide
yes,
receivers.
two
That's a
startable.
smart move.
So this is one of my favorite teams.
Yeah.
I think it's a sneaky team, and due to that dual quarterback setup with Burrow and Herbert, the 1-2 punch with Hall and Pacheco, if Ayuk gets traded, and then you're talking about Reed and Pearsall and Hollywood Brown and that Montgomery fall, he's right up there with these win now guys.
And to give him credit, he took a bunch of shots at tight end late.
Yes, he
He
did.
took Gerald Everett, Noah Fant, and Dawson Knox, just
Yep.
trying to get. So he
Yep.
knew where the spot was that he was trying to throw dart throws at.
Went with the Colts at the very end. He's going to stream defenses. I love that take. Get players, man. Get
Yeah.
players, BJ. Get players. BJ's Ty's dad, for those that
Oh, why'd you tell him that? No, he's not. No, he is. He's my dad.
You can say this. You're better at fantasy football than he is.
Oh, my God.
Basing off this draft.
Yeah, I don't know. Somehow he'll win, and I'll just never hear the end of it.
Yep,
and it'll be
that's
terrible.
I'm really afraid of that happening, if I'm being completely honest.
We'll have
with
to
you.
just close down the chat.
If we're
Can
gonna
we
have
do
to,
that?
yeah.
Like,
I'll figure something out. Let's go a couple more. We're kind of getting short on time. Here's a weird one. A.T. Perry, taken at pick 136 with an ADP of 241. I don't quite get that one.
I
So-
don't either.
Can we pull up? Let me pull up. Who was taken around him? Do you have that pulled up?
Where
Ty?
were you? Where was he picked?
136. There we go. A.T. Perry after him. Oh boy, Chase Brown, Eckler, Montgomery, Chubb, Romeo Dobbs, Isaiah Likely, Jahan Dotson, Jermaine Burton, a rookie I love.
Go get your guy.
Yeah,
But for me, I have to go down this list a long ways
a really long
before
ways, man.
I am starting to consider A.T. Perry.
Yep. Sorry, Nick. We don't mean to hammer on you, buddy. I just maybe you can send me a message and clarify that pick. Hey, Nick is going to be in my redraft league this
Oh,
year.
nice.
Yeah. So looking forward to meeting
Like
him.
right afterwards, Chase Brown,
Yep, I love Chase Brown.
Austin Eckler, David Montgomery. We talked about Nick Chubb.
Give me Jermaine Burton all day there.
Yeah, Jahan Dotson. I'm still taking Jahan Dotson.
Khalil Shakir.
Yep, taking Khalil Shakir.
I'll take a shot on Spencer Rattler over that, I think. Am I going
Yeah.
too far there?
No, just because I would rather, I guess, Spencer Rattler on my taxi than A.T.
Yes.
Perry on my bench.
Yes. Did you say Jatavian Sanders or Malachi Corley?
No, I didn't, but
But I mean,
I'll take Jatavian Sanders definitely. Malachi Corley,
I don't want to beat you up anymore, buddy. At the end of the day, I mean, I can go down several rounds and keep
Go get
pulling
your guy.
guys. I mean, go get your guy. I get it. And we talked about A.T. Perry. I love the build of this guy. I don't know if it's there.
I'll say
But
this.
the physical appearance of that man
Yeah,
is
and
insane.
other than Chris Olave, Like,
It is a big question mark.
if Rashid Shaheed can't come out and be a wide receiver too, you would have to think that A.T. Perry is the next guy up.
Yes, strong agree. So it might. I just think you could have dart thrown that a little later.
Yeah, not as bad as the defense.
Nobody's clamoring for A.T. Perry. Yeah,
No.
it's not as bad as the defense.
Maybe take a Chase Brown or Romeo Dobbs, depending on what you need there, and come back and get A.T. Perry in a couple rounds would probably be how I would go about that, just because I'm looking at this list and there's just guys that I personally, but you know what? I'll give you this, man. If it works out for you, good on you.
Yeah,
you can tell
good on
everybody
you.
the rest of the year, like,
Hey, look, I have A.T. Perry in our Keystone Kings 14 man. I have him on my bench. Like, it's not like I'm.
he was
dead
definitely going
against
to
him.
get drafted.
Sure.
It's high. It's
It's
early.
just a high pick. Nick, we love you, and we can't wait to meet you. Sorry, buddy. Team looks good, though. Bo Nix, Ty.
Yeah.
ADP of 96, drafted at pick 59.
Yeah.
How do you feel?
I'm all right with it.
I would be, too. This is a super flex league.
Yeah.
And this is Dynasty.
And like the quarterbacks, we say about the running back fall, this was a quarterback heavy league at the top end.
Yes.
I mean, guys were going to get the quarterbacks and stuff, and I wanted a rookie quarterback coming out of this draft. I felt like that was my opportunity. Didn't know if he was going to come back, so I took it, and I'm happy with it.
Okay. Yeah, I have no listen, and I think we both kind of feel the same about running quarterbacks, athletic quarterbacks. If it pans out for him, you're talking him and Murray. What's the problem?
Yeah.
What's the problem? So I want to look at Brian's team. James Cook, ADP of 59, drafted at 92. That's a good steal.
That is a steal.
Let's go over Brian's team here. Where is he? Elmer Fudd, the rabbit killer. I love it. Jamar Chase with his first pick. Followed that up with Trey McBride. Is that a little too early for you?
For Trey McBride?
Yeah.
No.
He's on my team now, so it doesn't really matter.
Right.
So he essentially drafted a 2026 first right there.
Yeah.
And you could look at it like that.
Yep.
Jonathan Taylor, Bryce Young. So let's say he's got Evan Ingram now. So, he's got Ingram and he's got Freiermuth here. Tight end room's fine. Jonathan Taylor, Rashad White, James Cook. That's a good running back trio.
Absolutely.
I think he's trying to prove us wrong on our.
Yeah.
Well, as a matter of fact, I know he is. He told me he was trying to prove us wrong on the running back dynasty correlation here. Strong disagree with him.
Proving us wrong as far as what?
He thinks that running back is still king.
Okay.
That was his point. Running back still king. He's going to try to. I don't know that he necessarily thinks that. I just think he's trying to prove us wrong in a sense.
Well, why the hell didn't he take Christian McCaffrey and Bijan Robinson and
I know. I picked
Jahmyr
out,
Gibbs and
I
Brees
know,
Hall?
I know. That was the first thing I said to him. His receivers are Jamar Chase, Ladd McConkey, Deontay Johnson. I mean, obviously, what's not to like about Jamar Chase, but
Brian always gets these quarterbacks. He's got Spencer Rattler and Jordan Travis.
Yep.
Love it.
Yep.
Good moves.
His top two quarterbacks are Bryce Young and Daniel Jones. I think this team's going to have a hard time. Outside of Chase, Taylor, White, Cook. It's going to be tough go.
Yeah.
Is there any sneaky picks in here that I like Curtis Samuel where he got him. That could be sneaky. I like Devin Singletary where he got him.
As much as I like the Spencer Rattler, Jordan Travis thing, I'm not thrilled with the Trey Lance, Mac Jones. And I know they're back end picks, but I don't know.
What about Joe Milton?
Yeah, I like that.
Worth a taxi
Yeah,
stash.
stash him down there, see what happens.
Luke Schoonmaker, there still could be something there going
Just
forward.
these guys that like we've already seen. Not that we've seen a lot of Trey Lance, but like Mac Jones, I don't know that I'm.
He could trade his way into a win now situation though.
Yeah,
Because you're saying so it's Pat Freiermuth and Evan Ingram.
one of those could be tradable.
He's going to need another receiver in order to win now, unless he's going to really try to prove us wrong and just be like, no, I got these running backs and that's what I'm going to do. So, hey, listen, there's all kinds of different strategies here. He's going to try to prove his point and we're going to see if it works.
Good on him.
Good on him. Balls of steel from old Brian. Tyler, did you have any like
He hit Rico Dowdle right at 204, ADP 204.
beautiful pick? There's nothing wrong with Rico Dowdle.
No, that's a good pick there.
That's actually someone I'd like to talk to him about with the trade, having Zeke.
Takes Joe Milton at pick 217.
Yeah. What's wrong with that?
And
Stick him on your taxi, see what happens.
then he's coming back. Like, he goes on a late run. Like, and then right after Joe Milton, he takes Trey Lance. And after that, he gets Damian Pierce.
Don't love that. He offered Damian Pierce to me. I did not take it.
Frank Gore Jr., who's on his taxi squad.
Okay. So he didn't stick those quarterbacks on his taxi, huh?
No, I don't think Jordan Travis or Spencer Rattler on the taxi, actually.
Okay.
I think it's Joe Milton and Frank Gore Jr. on his taxi.
Okay. That's an interesting way to go about it. Ty, did you have any teams here that you wanted to review that you looked at and was like, wow, I really like that? Like, do you have a favorite team outside of any of us three sitting here?
Mitchell's my favorite win now team. I like your team a lot, Chad. I think you got a lot of stuff. Out of us three, I think my team is the weakest. I think has least optimistic about it. I am really intrigued to see what happens with Cory's team. Like, I guess from a perspective of seeing how it all plays out, that's the team that intrigues me the most.
Okay. I wish we had time to cover everybody.
Because I do too.
But we just don't.
And I want to see how that plays. I've seen guys go young before. I don't know if I've ever seen somebody go that young. So I'm anxious to see how that plays out.
Okay. Can we review one more team before we hang this up?
As long as Mitchell's all right with it.
Send it.
Send it. Here we go. So my brother, Kasey, is in this league. I wanted to go over his team. So he starts out with Marvin Harrison. He was pick, Tyler, you were pick 12, right?
Yep.
He's pick 11. Started out with Marvin Harrison at pick 11. Any issues there?
No.
I don't either. Comes back with Jordan Love.
Love it.
Yep. No pun intended. After that, next, let's go. Next 1, 2, 3, next 5 picks: Tyreek Hill, Brock Bowers, Jordan Addison, Matt Stafford, and Cooper Kupp. I like this.
Say that again.
So let's just start from the top. Marvin Harrison, Jordan Love, Tyreek Hill, Brock Bowers, Jordan Addison. That could be a problem after the news we just got.
Yeah.
Matt Stafford and Cooper Kupp. Follows that up with a string of 3 running backs: Zamir White, Aaron Jones, Chase Brown.
Love the Zamir White pick.
Solidifies Aaron Jones with Ty Chandler, which I'm a big fan of. Sneaks in Jermaine Burton, sneaks in Kamani Vidal.
Chase Brown.
Yep, love that pick. Takes a shot with 2 rookie receivers back-to-back, Devontae Walker and Malik Washington.
Kasey went really heavy on running backs, but they were value running backs.
Yes, agreed. He now has Romeo Doubs. We can add that to his mix in his trade with Mitchell.
Yep.
Madison, that's kind of a nonsense pick. But Trey Palmer, jury's still out there. I don't think any of us love Eric All. Ryan Flournoy is a sneaky one. So
Malik Washington out of Miami there. Malik Washington.
Yeah, I
like
love that.
pick.
Yeah, because he went there back to back with rookies, Tez Walker and Malik Washington, and
nice.
snuck in Jermaine Burton.
Yep.
So I'm a fan
He's
of that.
got the Madison
trio.
to go with Zamir White.
Yes. Oh, right. Yeah, I was saying I didn't really care for. Oh, right. He has Zamir
Ty
White.
Chandler.
It's great sense.
Like you said, that's
Locked up 2 backfields right
Kamani
there.
Vidal, got a rookie guy.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is a team with a really good base.
If Cooper Kupp,
And Tyreek Hill.
I think Tyreek Hill is going to produce. Cooper
Yes.
Kupp, it's more of like an injury thing. If he's healthy, I think he's going to be great.
And that was last episode. We hammered that out a little bit.
Yeah, man. I kind of overlooked this one, but this is a really good team.
Yep. I like it. I like it a lot. The only thing that he's lacking that would cause concern for me is I think this is probably it for Matthew Stafford, don't you? Or do you think he's got another one after this?
You think this is the last year? No.
It's starting to feel that way.
It's getting that feeling to it. I'm going to say, man, I just think Matthew Stafford is going to be one of those guys that you have to be like, get out of here.
It's time
I
to
don't
go.
think he's going to, so.
They're going to need to Brett Favre him out of there.
Right.
Okay. All right. Ty, did you have anything else at all that you wanted to touch on here before? I've been really excited to do this show. And I know the people in the league were, and I'd like to say again, I want to reiterate, I'm sorry we couldn't cover all the teams, but this is going to be a nice league for us to pull information from, use as a reference. So if we didn't get to talk about you much today, we will. Your teams will be brought up for better or worse. I promise you that. Tyler?
Yeah, unless my dad wins, then we're just going to stop talking about it altogether.
All right. Well, I think that's going to be it for today's show. Again, as always, thank you all so much for tuning in, giving us your support. Join us next time for a Dynasty buy-sell for contenders and rebuilders. And also, want your trades graded? See the description for details, and we'll get into some of that as well. Please remember to like, follow, and subscribe to our Spotify, Twitter, and YouTube. And we'll see you next time, everybody.